Alright, I just want to quickly tell you all to join the Discord and a quick apology for this video being a bit shorter. I am pre-recording this as I had a bit of a headache, but I hope it's gonna subside and make me do better quality videos next time. So I wish you all the best of luck and the best of days. Now let's continue on to the video. Hello everyone, this is Rose Gold, and today we're getting into part 8 of What If Naruto Wasn't Otsutsuki. Now, I know I'm doing this a lot, but you gotta believe me here. If you look at the growth of this channel, like this channel is experiencing, you would as well if you are in my position. So thank you all so much for the support. We've reached a quarter of a fucking thousand subscribers. Now, I'm not gonna do all the percentage crap as a little thank you and not to waste your time, but you should join the Discord to interact with me and maybe follow me on Twitter. But without further ado, let's get straight into part 8. When Naruto left the waterfall, there stood a ton of Jonin and even Anbu, but a few Chunin as well. When Naruto saw this, he was rather surprised. Why were they all here until a particular Chunin stepped forth? Naruto, we can't let you go beyond this point. Naruto was confused. Naruto was still confused, as he asked if anything was going on, but Iruka, the Chunin who had stepped forth, stayed silent, giving the Anbu and Jonin a guilty look, but they all nodded at him. We just cannot let you through. Our protagonist was starting to get mad. He had just learned to use this new power, which could be very useful, and wanted to use it in a mission or two as to test out his full capabilities. But the Jonin and Anbu stood their ground, not letting him pass until Naruto activated his Sage Mode and blitzed through all of them. Most of them were absolutely shell-shocked, but Iruka walked over, handing Naruto's head back to him, which made Naruto a bit happy, but suddenly Shadow Possession caught him. As he couldn't move until he really sensed what was going on in the outside world. Death, destruction, chaos. The Fourth Shinobi World War had started, and they were just trapping him here? Unacceptable. Naruto unleashed more of his latent power, blitzing out of there with B, as they made it to a place where they were met by both the Raikage and Hokage, A and Tsunade. Naruto was getting more annoyed. Did they really think that little of his power? When Tsunade stopped them, saying, "You won't get past here, Naruto. You're both too important to lose in the war." Tsunade had seen his Sage Mode, so she knew he probably already sensed what was going on, but Naruto brushed her off, starting to run. When the Raikage went for a full power and speed punch, Naruto dodged it, without kissing him one, just Sage Mode, which surprised the Raikage so much that he almost fell to the ground. What kind of thing? No. What kind of being is he? But Naruto and B ignored them, quickly moving on to break the barrier, Naruto using a Rasengan and B a Tail Beast Bomb, until going on to help the war. Before Naruto actually did anything himself in the war, he made about 50 clones that were all a good amount stronger than the ones he made in the original series, that he all sent out in groups of three. Two were with him as well, just for protection, and they went off. But of course, before this, when the Bee and Naruto were going through the woods, Naruto still kinda ate that message Iruka left for him. We switched to the first group's perspective. There was the third Raikage who was facing off against a lot of ninja and doing surprisingly well. Suddenly, the clones arrived at speeds, making even the third Raikage gasp for a second, until the fight began. As two of the clones were fending off the third Raikage quite well, the third clone took some information in, and being a ton smarter than the original, almost instantaneously figured out the third Raikage's weakness after hearing the story about the Eight Tails, which made him make a quick Rasengan, and so did all the other clones, which pretended to hit him at some point that would get his arm in the perfect position, and the third clone flew at the Raikage with his Rasengan, making his arm go straight into his wound, making him lose the fight. But while he lost the fight, he gained respect for the new hero of the ninja world, Naruto Otsutsuki. The other clones quickly wiped out the rest of the threats as well. Whilst this was going on, the last group of clones who were sent to some place in the sand had now seen the terror that was Mario Chia as he tore through all the ninjas themselves. As to give Naruto they suddenly proved themselves as to give Naruto the information he needed, which he passed through all the clones until letting them all prove and gaining their newfound information as well, which could help out in the future if he was lucky. When Naruto finally arrived at the battlefield, there were the reanimated Jinchuriki, he was able to fight off rather easily, while they weren't in any tailed beast form in KCM1. But once they all transformed into their full tailed beast mode, it was rather difficult, even B with them, to do so. But now the Ninetales had seen enough and forced Naruto into the mindscape. When Kurama actually smiled at Naruto, the protagonist got the message, opening the seal completely, and finally achieving KCM2 after welcoming the Ninetales as a new member of the Leaf Village Alliance. Finally achieving KCM2, he was able to really easily do what he did in the original series. So he removed the chakra robots almost instantaneously, only in mere seconds, until Obito pulled them all into the Ghetto Mazo and jumped down to finally fight the boy, who reminded him so much of his past self. But for now, he was still the masked man, not Obito. And the fight went similar to normal, just that Naruto was able to dodge his attacks more easily, and the Rasengan, which finally ended up destroying the mask that had covered Obito's face for so long, had more impact. But the most impact was felt by no other than Kakashi. Kakashi had now seen his friend, who should have died so long ago, appearing right before his eyes. How? How did something like this happen? Kakashi thought to himself. Obito was always such a kind boy, and now he was the battle boss to end everyone who was fighting right now. When Obito saw his old friend, he smiled at him psychotically, then jumped up, finally letting the Gedomazu fully absorb all the tail beasts there, except for the 8 and 9 tails, of course, and completely let it transform. It looked a bit gruesome as the Gedomazu morphed into the being that terrified almost everyone here. A tail beast that had the power to destroy all of them in a single blast, and when it finally shot a tail beast bomb, someone teleported it a while away as the fourth Hokage showed up. While Naruto was amazed to see him, Minato wasn't really his father, but he was still his idol, so he still smiled. He didn't say too much since he was a bit shy, except smiling at him until a hand patted him on the head. When he turned around, there stood the reanimated Hakuro Otsutsuki. Now I'm going to end this part off right here, so I hope you all enjoyed. I spent a lot of time on this, so please subscribe and join the Discord below. This was Rose Gold, and I am